talk about top three majors in college or university and to major and graduate with. And that's computer science, engineering, nursing, and art school design and business marketing or entertainment, such as sports, music, movies, and video games. And, they each pay around $50,000, which is the median U.S. income, to about $150,000 salary. So you save about $20,000 or $50,000 per year. So invested over time, you make a lot of money, right? But to get qualified for that, you need like perfect ACT scores or SAT scores, such as a 36 on the ACT or 1600 on the SAT. And you get extracurriculars and a lot of projects or apps and maybe business experience, such as actually selling a product or market design. And doing all that with AP courses or honors is really difficult, so there's not a lot of time to really socialize with others if you're trying to make a lot of money, right? And from my experience, I think I'm just going to stick with computer science and engineering. I plan to hopefully get my master's and PhD from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign and MIT or Ivy League school. So you have to aim for the top 5. So if we just Google that, that's what we find. And you can Google it too, right? You don't have to necessarily watch my videos, but I'm just trying to teach from my success that I've had to others and to my family, son, Marcus, Kashku. So if he ever watches this video, I just want to let him know and let others know that, you want to live in the top countries too, because the only people who have money can give money to pay you, right? So only countries like developed nations, such as America and let's say Canada or South Korea, Japan, Australia, China, or European countries, or upper middle countries such as Mongolia. And I think, and it's actually going to be high in a developed country, Mongolia, one day. And I'm proud to be an American-Mongolian. I became a citizen last year of America. And to talk more about university experience at the Illinois Institute of Technology, being a president or founder of a such as robotics club or hobby or team, and competing in hackathons is also better for companies such as Apple and Google and Amazon and more mid-cap companies such as Paylocity and Memory Beach, which I work for. Yeah, it helps, and even startups, they also help to go network with them in the cities such as Chicago, New York, or California, San Francisco, right? So I think I plan on living in hopefully California on my own. I think New York is great, but only Y-Combinator is the only interesting startup incubator, and the number 1 out of the Techstars in New York and 1871 in Chicago, which are the top 3 cities. So, would I recommend like boot camp or trade school or going to university? It all depends on how much you can afford, right? So if you can afford university and building a company, then I would recommend that, and recommend maybe what's even better is going straight to Y-Combinator and not getting into any depth in school. So it's better to be not in depth than in depth. So if you're gonna go in depth and build interest, that's really not good. So you wanna not build any debt, right? Or not have any debt. So getting scholarships and is good, or full rides. So that's why doing sports in high school is good, and applying to like foundations. Like I got a Mongolian foundation scholarship, and computer science and computer engineering is really the majority of the billionaires in the world and millionaires, and makes thousands of dollars at least, and gives you better understanding of the modern day world and apps and everything and technology, because everything is run through like our phones, and because Apple's the best company, right? And currently, and there's NVIDIA and all the other social media apps and products and services, but for the future, of course, like quantum is going to be, and space and energy is going to be very valuable, but nobody is really investing into those kind of unicorn small companies, because they don't have enough users yet. So I recommend, in summary, to try going to startup meetups at meetup.com or on Facebook in the city, because if you network with smart people and go to business events and apply for these startup incubators, and especially like I keep mentioning Y-Combinator, then you can just build a product really fast and make a lot of money. So I think based on coding experience, it is somewhat difficult to learn how to code, because you're like updating or making new features in a website or a phone app or application, right? So the difficulty, I'll talk about that in another video, but for now, there are a bunch of other majors, but the ones I talk about, computer science and computer engineering, nursing, and art school of design and business marketing and entertainment are the main ones, because there's petroleum engineering and aerospace engineering and chemical engineering and electrical engineering and mechanical engineering, but if you really want to stand out in the crowd, right, you want to focus on what's the most successful, what are people like buying, and what are people making and spending their time on, free time on. So majority goes into those three, because the world's going to get older, so we're going to need nurses, and we're going to be using our phones, and we're going to still need to be entertained. So that's the majority of the day, right? We only have 24 hours in a day, so we have to eat and cook and pay for a home and gas and electricity and internet for our kids, and it costs a lot. So I recommend to play it safe. Try not to major in majors that don't provide any value or opportunities, job opportunities, or business value, or money and salaries from different companies. So you can like pick from which company you want to work at and negotiate. So that's all for today's video, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'll talk more about in my next videos, more about my university experience, my startup knowledge, and plans for the future, and my experience with doing hopefully a master's at UIUC and PhD at MIT or Ivy League schools such as Harvard, and gaining industry experience, because you see people who only get educated get these offers from companies, even though like Tesla or Elon Musk may not require degrees. I think people in the back of their minds still want you to be educated or have published papers or something, because doing it all on your own is highly unlikely to be successful. You definitely need a team making an app or anything, or a product or service. So thank you for watching my videos. Watch, like, subscribe.